Well, hello everyone. Al Mack here, CombatOdds.ca. We are going to break down and recap the results for UFC 268, Usman versus Covington 2, which saw Kamaru Usman pick up a unanimous decision victory over Colby Covington. We're going to break down the betting results for the entire main card, some stuff from the prelims. But before we get started, let's just take care of a couple housekeeping notes. Let's get that up there. So yeah, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm going to do a video in a couple of days to kind of explain my absence and the future of this channel. And I got some other projects that are going that's going to affect this channel. So in a couple of days, I'm going to address all that. But for now, let's just go on like nothing has happened, and I've been here the whole time. So yeah, like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow along, CombatOdds.ca. The results are there as well as the betting trends. Combat Odds HQ on social media, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, even Instagram, all that good stuff. And then if you like what you see here, this whole setup, StreamYard, the best place to do your own, streaming on YouTube or whatever. The link, tinyurl.com/CombatOddsHQSY. You get a voucher on my behalf for StreamYard, and it helps me, it helps them, it helps StreamYard, and it even helps you. So if you're interested, hit that up. And then as always, we are sponsored by CoolBet, coolbet.com. Use the promo code COMBAT for 100% sign up bonus. If you want to, I didn't have the greatest night last night, lost 0.8 of a unit. We're going to get into it, but if Justin Gaethje finishes Chandler there in that early in that second round, probably had a pretty good night, but it is what it is. Had us just a tiny little loss, just a little bit less of a unit, but we're still, the record's down there, 887 and 840 for plus 21.85 units since the start of 2020. So if you want to get in on all that, patreon.com/CombatOddsHQ, $5 US a month. You get all my combat sports picks, but you don't need to sign up. It's just, I still give out a ton of free picks, but for the best bets, the cream of the crop, hit up the Patreon. All right, so let's get started. 268 results. The favorite continues to just destroy. The favorite went 11-3 last night for plus 2.34 units. The over cashed in 8 of the 14 fights of the night, turning a profit of plus 1.54 units. And the distance prop split straight down the middle. 7 of 14 fights ending inside the distance. With that, the fight goes the distance prop remains the most profitable prop of the year with a record of 232, 210, and 5 for a profit of plus 34.12 units since the start of 2020 across every UFC fight this year. Let's talk about the prelims. Some notable action in the prelims. Let's see. Chris Barnett, that crazy spinning wheel kick on Gian Vellante, second round TKO. Ian Garry looked didn't look that good, but then turned it around and picked up the knockout over Jordan Williams. Cashes a heavy minus 400 favorite. Nasruddin Imavov just made, I wouldn't say short work, but he pretty much dominated Edmund Shabazian through and through in that performance. Imavov picks up the stoppage win over Edmund Shabazian, $100 better now, who has backed Nasruddin Imavov on the inside the distance prop since coming into the UFC in 2020, has turned a profit of $430 in his 4 UFC appearances, going 2-2. So this guy, he's one of these guys. He's just continued to get better every time he goes out there. Chris Curtis pulled off a pretty big knockout upset over Phil Hawes, cashing as an almost 3-1 underdog, coming through at plus 285 on the money line. And then Bobby Green, wow, his first stoppage victory in the UFC, and just an absolute virtuoso display of boxing against Al Iaquinta. Maybe possibly the best performance from Bobby Green in his UFC career, matched with the worst performance of Al Iaquinta's UFC career, just coming head on there. And one of the nicest 1-2s I've ever seen in MMA, period. And it was just a thing of beauty. Bobby Green, first round stoppage victory, as I said, plus 700 on the inside the distance prop for just the third stoppage win in his 8-year UFC career. So yeah, just the third, but I believe just his first round knockout. I could be wrong, but Bobby Green is not one to come through with a heavy knockouts like that. This guy's a decision machine, and he comes through 7-1 odds on the inside the distance prop. I'm actually going to look that up right now. If I was mistaken, I apologize. I don't think that he's at. When was the last time he had a stoppage before that? Let's check. Bobby Green, pulling up his Wikipedia here. Last time he had a stoppage win, James Krause, 2013. So his first stoppage win in 8 years. Wild, absolutely wild. Comes through. He was a pretty heavy favorite. I was gonna parlay him up, but then I at the last second I didn't, because it's hard to trust Bobby Green as a favorite. He comes through great as an underdog. One thing that I did have though in this fight that was huge for me, the fight goes the distance no in this one, plus 275 came in, and that was just a thing of beauty. And then the next fight, the UFC debut of Glory Kickboxing champion Alex Pereira, the only guy to ever knock out Israel Adesanya, comes in that first round. He did not look very good. He was getting, wrestled pretty badly. He did a good job defending the takedown, but if the fight can continue the way that first round went, it wasn't going to be a good debut whatsoever. And then boom, just seconds into that second round, it was just a thing of beauty, that flying knee. He covered it perfectly, and he just perfect execution right up the middle. Just a thing of beauty. Cashes as a minus 255 betting favorite. We got to keep our eye on this guy because he's probably going to get the fast track. Him and Izzy have some history, and then if we can match up some guys that Izzy has defeated, they can kind of build up that storyline, see what happens. I'm not saying that you can compare him to Israel Adesanya as far as MMA goes, but I'm sure that the UFC is going to keep their eye on this to try to just fast track them up this division. And yeah, that was the feature bout of the prelims. Let's get right into this main card, because the way that this started was just absolutely just wild. So Justin Gaethje comes through as the minus 200 betting favorite against Michael Chandler, picks up the unanimous decision victory. Gaethje by decision plus 550, the over 1.5 rounds minus 105, and the fight goes the distance yes plus 250. Like I said, Gaethje picks up his first decision win in the UFC, and with the win, $100 better who's backed Justin Gaethje on the money line since his 2017 UFC debut has now turned a profit of $379. The guy has come through as an underdog multiple times, and this time he came through as a strong betting favorite. With Bobby Green and Gaethje picking up wins tonight, the betting favorite in the UFC lightweight division improves to a 70% win rate over the last 2 years, with a 126, 56-1 record for a marginal profit of plus 2.87 units on the money line since the start of 2019 at 155 pounds. And yeah, I don't know what else to say besides just what an absolute war. I was so surprised that Chandler's chin held up for that whole fight. Like, I'm shocked. And I'm glad I didn't bet the house on the fight goes the distance no, because I came pretty close. But I had that one parlayed up. And like I said, if The under as well would have cashed if he ended up finishing Chandler in that flurry right at the start of the second round when he dropped him. The under would have cashed, and then that I had to fight goes the distance. No, parlayed up with Alex Pereira, and if those two things come through, it's a different night for me. I'm just really glad I didn't do something stupid, because I was saying, for sure, there's no way this fight goes the distance. Chandler got dropped by Oliveira, which now it makes you think, like, a lot of people doubt Oliveira's hands and think that he's not that great of a striker. If Justin Gaethje wasn't able to put him away, but Charles Oliveira is able to. Oliveira versus Gaethje will be interesting, because if Oliveira is able to drop Chandler and Gaethje wasn't able to finish Chandler, who knows what Oliveira is going to be able to do in that matchup. But Gaethje, just so interesting the way he held his hands like close to his stomach to be able to defend the takedown, while also kind of just like basing his striking from that stance too. It was very, very odd. It was almost like Yuri Prochazka, just weird, very odd stance, but it worked for him. And I think that he probably implemented that with the Khabib fight, just in the way that he was standing, and that he went forward in the Chandler fight, and it was working for him. And wow, what a fight. And I'm glad I had some discipline and didn't go all in on like just a ridiculous bet on that fight goes the distance. No. But yeah, unbelievable fight. That first round, probably round of the year in my opinion. And yeah, Gaethje, first decision win of his UFC career. All right, so the next one, and this is like trying to follow up the Rolling Stones here. Shane Burgos defeated Billy Quarantillo, and this was a great fight. Burgos comes in as a minus 155 betting favorite, picks up the unanimous decision victory, plus 187 on the decision prop. The over 2.5 rounds prop comes through, minus 135. Fight goes the distance, yes. I believe that was at the minus 125 area. I have it written down here wrong. I think it was at like minus 125. Burgos picks up the win and improves to 6-3 since making his UFC debut back in 2017. With that, $100 better who has backed Burgos by decision in each of his 9 UFC fights has turned a profit of $547. Yeah, like I said, this is like following up the Rolling Stones, man, because this is a great fight. And if this fight was in any other place, the crowd would have been going wild. And it's the only thing that's like kind of the downside of putting such a great fight to start. And I understand why they did it because of Trevor Whitman, but it's just, it was hard to get the fans back into it. And I feel like the next fight, Marlon Vera and Frankie Edgar, that did a really good job of getting the fans back into it, just because everybody loves Frankie. And Marlon Vera, up and coming bantamweight, he comes through as the minus 145 betting favorite in this one, with a third round KO, Anderson Silva-esque front kick straight up the middle, cashes at plus 300 by TKO, plus 220 on the inside the distance prop. But the over 2.5 rounds came through because this was late in the third round, and then fight goes the distance, no, plus 135. Marlon Vera, what can you say? Third round knockout. And Vera proves to 8-3 since his 2018 UFC debut. With that, a $100 better who's backed Vera on the inside the distance prop in his last 11 fights has turned a profit of $849. So this guy, he finished his fight. And this was just another very, very good fight. These guys were fighting at a super high pace right off the hop. There was some bad blood between these guys that started to brew as the fight went on. In between rounds, in between the second and the third, Vera gave him the finger, and they were just had to be separated. And just wow, oh my God, what a knockout! That kick right up the middle, and he had Frankie. It was a pretty close fight, but I feel like Vera was turning around in that third round. It was 1-1, I believe, going into the third. But up until that point where the kick happened, I think that Vera was putting it on him and doing good damage, and then put him in that spot to just get that unbelievable front kick right under the chin, right up the middle, almost like I said, Anderson Silva-esque, but it was more right under the chin. And there's a picture going around where Frankie Edgar looks like a Simpsons character after just getting his face, completely melted by that kick. And I know Frankie was complaining, saying that he wasn't out, but that was a very good stoppage and unbelievable performance by Chito Vera. And I don't know what you do next with him. If O'Malley picks up that fight against Roland Paiva and comes through there, I think if Chito wants the rematch, just to beat him again, and or just to have that high profile fight, I think they should do that. Otherwise, I don't know. I think Chito. It was unfortunate that he picked up the loss against Aldo, but then now with 2 back-to-back wins on the rebound, you got to start looking at this guy's, bantamweight's tough because, it's hard to, it's just a killer's row. And then the top 5 and in getting upwards to the top 5. But I think Vera's the real deal. I think we need to start getting him into some good matchups because he's good and he's really, when the UFC gets back down to South America, whenever that is, whenever COVID gets back under control to the point where they can start going to Ecuador and Peru and places like that again, he's going to be a guy that they should use to main event or co-main event some of these cards because he's got a big following down there, and he's becoming the type of guy that as he gets more like bigger profile fights, he's going to get more and more of a following down in South America. So he's going to be a good guy to, raise, get the UFC back down there. So yeah, great performance by Marlon Vera. Next one, the co-main event. And wow, this is great too. Rose Namajunas comes through as the plus 105 underdog in a split decision win. She cashes at plus 350 by decision. The over 4.5 rounds cashes at plus 125. Fight goes the distance, yes. Cashes at plus 120. And Rose Namajunas, like I said, plus 105 underdog. She now improves to 9-3 since her 2014 UFC debut, and $100 better who has backed Namajunas on the money line in that stretch has turned a profit of $1,055. So, she's come through as an underdog many times in her career. She's now undefeated in rematches with, I believe now that was her fourth rematch win that she has. So this is a great fight, but I will say this. I had a bet on Rose, and I'm happy that she came out with the victory. But the judging in this fight didn't make any sense. I saw one scorecard, 49-46 Rose. I got to say, that's an absolute joke. That's a bullshit scorecard. I scored this fight for Zhang. I thought that Weili Zhang did enough. Even if she dropped even if she lost that 5th round, I still thought it was 3-2. So yeah, I don't know. That was wacky, and I don't know if we're in Vegas or if we're in somewhere with a more just the judging the judging pool last night was just not the best. And I'm happy that Rose won, but I gotta call a spade, and I honestly think that Weili Zhang won that fight. I gotta be honest. I thought the wrestling, Rose did a good job in that 5th round coming out, and they were, again, the commentary, I try my best not to just constantly bitch about the commentary, but the commentary was obviously biased towards Rose, constantly saying when Rose was doing something good, but then not pointing out when Weili was doing something good. I know DC kept trying to reiterate, like, oh yeah, they're both fighting really well, while Rogan was saying, oh, Rose is doing great. But I don't, and I feel like the crowd bias might have been a factor there too, or Rose throwing some kicks or some punches that might have missed, but when the crowd reacts more, the judges might think that if the crowd believes that some of those punches that didn't landed, the judge might see it the same way. There's those biases like that. We've said that before with in the Apex or in Fight Island when there wasn't crowds, when there was the biased commentary that might have been affecting the judging. Obviously, the fans, it's the same way. Yeah, I got to call a spade a spade. I thought Weili Zhang won that fight. But all the respect to Rose, it was a great fight, super close. I wouldn't say that she got robbed. I understand that Rose Namajunas. I understand a 3-2. Yeah, I understand 48-47 across the board, unanimous decision. I understand a split, 48-47, but beyond that, like I said, 49-46 Rose is a joke. So there it is. Moving on, main event of the night, Kamaru Usman comes through with a unanimous decision victory over Colby Covington, cashes as the minus 265 betting favorite, plus 225 on the decision prop. The over 4.5 rounds comes through minus 105. Fight goes to distance, yes, at plus 125. Usman, like I said, minus 265 betting favorite. He improves to 15-0 since making his 2015 UFC debut with the win. A $100 bettor who has backed Usman to win by decision has now turned a profit of plus $1,025 in that stretch in his 15 UFC appearances. Yeah, just what a great performance by Usman. I thought it was, if we're talking strictly as a fighter, I have become a bigger fan of Colby Covington after last night. I can't help but respect that performance after getting dropped twice in the second round and getting back to his feet and kind of turning the tide of the fight. To be honest, I thought Usman, a lot of close rounds from that point on, and I wouldn't have been absolutely shocked if they give that fight to Covington. I wouldn't. It was that close. I thought that it would have been a 10-8 round at the end of round 2, especially with him getting dropped twice. If there was a little bit more time in that round, I don't know if Colby survives. So yeah, I didn't have a problem with the judging in this one, but to say that I was very confident that Usman won. What made me confident that Usman won was the damage and him dropping him twice in the second round. Beyond that, I thought Colby at least made a case for every round after that. The third, the fourth, and the fifth, I thought that Usman, the fight was there to be had. And in the second round, it looked like Usman could have finished him. And then he kind of, not to say that he took his foot off the gas, but he just didn't. He wanted to stretch it out. He wanted to just, wanted to push the pace on Colby to try to get him to make the same mistake again instead of having to go in for the kill. He was just waiting him out, and he waited him out for 25 minutes, and the fight went the distance. And Colby did a really good job of coming back. And yeah, like I said, in the end, I was confident that Usman won, but I would not have been shocked if Covington, with just a ridiculous decision, ended up winning. If we're going by damage, and damage is and should be the ultimate deciding factor, then Usman won for sure. Otherwise, it's a pretty close fight and hard to judge. So in the end, great fight. Usman edged him out 48-47, 48-47, 49-46. 49-46 is, that's 4-1 is, and I am not a fan of Colby Covington as a person, but again, I got to call a spade a spade. 49-46 Usman is suspect. So yeah, Usman, like I said, 15-0, and what to do with him now. Vicente Luque missed weight as the backup fighter, so that's got to put a bad taste in their mouth about Luque and Usman. And I know they have some history and they're friends and stuff like that, old training partners. But it looks like they need to have some type of vanity matchup if they can get Chimaev up the ranks. Leon, if Leon beats Masvidal, maybe they can put Edwards, Usman 2 together, and Masvidal can fight Covington. But beyond that, I wouldn't be shocked if we see Usman Covington 3 at some point down the road. Michael Chiesa was in a good spot to have a case to be made for a title shot, but now after losing to Luque the way that he did, I think that that's off the table. So there's really, unless Usman wants to entertain some, similar to like when Adesanya fought Romero, who was like ranked 6 or something, or 5th or 6th, unless Usman wants to entertain some type of vanity matchup with Nate or something ridiculous like that, I don't know who he's going to fight. Like, that's not just a rematch again, right? So Burns took out Wonderboy and pretty much wiped Wonderboy's chances of getting Usman, unless, like I said, Usman just says, I want to fight Wonderboy. So I don't know. It's hard. Chimaev, to me, if Chimaev can get a win in the top, between the top like 4 to 7, if he can do that before the end of the year, or if he can do that, before, February, then maybe we can see Usman Chimaev in like June of next year. That's kind of a fantasy, but I can still see it happening. The UFC loves that, and they love Chimaev, and Usman is not getting any younger, and you keep hearing him talking about, mentioning retiring, mentioning, I don't know how much longer I want to do this. So I don't know what they're going to do with Usman as a champion going forward, because you got to be really careful when you pick those vanity matchups, because you might end up being like Connor and getting dropped by Nate. Obviously, I'm not saying that would ever happen. I think Usman would absolutely destroy Nate Diaz. But like I said, you got to be careful with those matchups, and you got to treat them properly. I know Usman came into that Masvidal fight in bad shape, so who knows? Who knows what's next for him? And hopefully it's going to be something good, because this guy, as Dana White said, and as we've all been saying for quite a long time, there's no welterweight. There's not a welterweight alive that's at the level that Usman's at. Unless Izzy drops the belt, he's not going to move up to 185. If he gets into a rivalry with somebody at 185, they can do that fight, like a non-title fight. But that's not really something that the UFC does. But who knows, man? Who knows? But that's what's good about Usman. We're getting to the point now where we're starting to say, well, what's next? It's really hard to get to that point with a lot of fighters, because there's always that next question. There's always that, well, he didn't beat this guy. Well, he didn't beat that guy. Usman, you can't really say those things about him. He's beaten everybody. He even beat Leon. Leon wasn't as good as he is now then, but he beat him both in their rise up. So it is what it is, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do with him going forward, because a lot of people don't like him. Just a lot of casuals don't like him, but as far as MMA purists, Kamaru Usman's one of the best to ever do it, period. So yeah, that was UFC 268. And we're going to wrap it up. Like I said, I'm going to do a video in a couple of days, probably on Wednesday or Thursday, and just explain my absence, explain the future of the channel, explain some side projects that are going to affect this stuff that will be featured here. And thanks for tuning in. This is just a little quick one. No look ahead on this show, but I'm going to put out a video for the Holloway Rodriguez fight, probably on Wednesday afternoon. So look up for that. And yeah, before you leave, like and subscribe like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit up CombatOdds.ca for all those betting trends that I just previously mentioned. Follow along on social media, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. Combat Odds HQ. If you like what you see here, StreamYard promo link is in the description. And as always, we are sponsored by CombatOdds.com. Promo code COMBAT for a 100% sign-up bonus when you sign up. And if you want all my plays for every upcoming UFC, we got a whole bunch of UFC in November, 2 more events, and then we got a jam-packed December with UFC 269, Poirier and Oliveira, my pretty much my 2 favorite fighters going head-to-head. That's going to be a great one. So, yeah, patreon.com, $5 US a month gets you all my free picks, and the records there speak for itself. So, yeah, basically, until my next video, thanks for tuning in. Talk to you later.